All right. So there's power in this room. It's all quiet now, but there's power in this room. And we have workers from another sector where you got workers, you got power. We got to recognize what we bring to this room. So just quickly, real quick, I would like to identify some of the workers, right? How many people work in the food industry?
Oh, we do.
How many in transportation? So Todd, all right. How many? Let's see. Let me just say this. We got a vast array of workers here. And I want to say, we got power in the room. We transport, we build, we move garbage, we move trash to make these places that they advertise, places we designed to go. We keep them clean. An example, any mail carriers in the room. We'll have that next time. Okay. I'm a cargo, like automobile workers. Okay. Oh, talking minutes. Any teachers in the house? So, anybody got left out? Tell me. So,
it's job security. You're in the rest of the
so Ed, would you get ready to come up before we get started? We're going to ask Ed to come up and address something.
We would like to, on behalf of the Southern Workers Assembly.
Come on.
I'm getting towards the mic. On behalf of the Southern Workers Assembly, we would like to congratulate the UAW for the election. For the election of UAW and for the election today at Mercedes. The vote tally doesn't matter. What matters is the UAW's motivation, willingness, and resources to organize the Southern auto industry. The Southern auto industry will not be organized one election at a time. The Southern hospital industry will not be organized one election at a time. The Southern logistical industry will not be organized one election at a time. We congratulate the UAW for undertaking the effort. We encourage them to continue, but we encourage other unions to follow the example of the UAW. It's ironic that the UAW's founding in 1937 is based on the sit-down strikes that was a multi-corporation, multi-location effort to organize the entire, at that time, the entire auto industry. That's the way the UE was formed in 1936. That's the way the modern labor movement was formed in the 1930s and 40s. That's the way the South is going to get organized in the 2000. I'd also like to congratulate the UAW for the fine example of the multi-plant, multi-local bus contract. It's a model of aggressive, militant, collective bargaining. Because the whole game here union organizing is not to win elections. It's to bargain contracts that increase the material living of the working class. So let's talk about those things this weekend and see what we can do to move forward on the movement.
All right, this panel that we have there is gonna, I'm gonna just read what the overview is. The panel and the ensuing discussion will offer an assessment of various developments, including but not limited to the UAW organizing drive in the South. The general climate of workers fight back since COVID. And
Thought you could read your own writing.
no, I'm not. All right, and we want to organize the primary reason we want to organize the South is because some of the things that Ed just said, but the more organized, the better the people are. We are personifying the need to be organized. We have the unions here that reap the benefit by getting good pay, good benefits, and everything. So our job is to personify that need and spread it out. It's not only just the South, but we're focused on the South right now. So without further delay, we have this panel, this outstanding panel here. The first, Corey Hill, president of the UAW, local 3520, and a committee member of the Donald Truck North America Council. Next row, I have Mr. Dominic House. And he's the UE local 150. Now, let's read a little about him. Dominic Harris is the president of the Charlotte City Workers Union Chapter of the statewide UE Local 150. Dominic is a true chief in Charlotte Department of Trustee, in Charlotte Department of Trustee of the UE Eastern Region. Dominic. Miranda Escalante, Astro Food and Beverage Workers United. And they all me say a little something about her. Miranda began in the food and beverage industry at the age of 16. She fell in love with the hospitality in the hospitality industry in 2008 and has looked back since. Since then, she has worked in various fronts of the hospitality industry. In response, predominantly, Sam, I told the young lady I would bring her out.
You want me to come?
Please come to me.
Okay, I promise you I would.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all, I didn't send it in writing in time.
That's all right.
All right. Miranda Escalante began in the food and beverage industry at age 16. She fell in love with the hospitality industry, and in 2008, and she hasn't moved back since. She worked in a whole bunch of front of the house positions, mostly in management, some corporate, and a lot of private and independent restaurants. And watching the changes in actual service industry the past 17 years led her to want to apply her expertise in a way that could impact her community. Her mission is to leave the service industry better than she found it, and she joined the efforts of Asheville Food and Beverage United in August of 2023. She's doing a great job.
So the next is Consumer Smith, the Union of Southern Service Workers. Tashira is a founding member of the Union of Southern Service Workers. She lives in Durham, North Carolina, with her 2 children and her disabled mother, who she helps. Or she has worked at Burger King, Walmart, Checkers, various hotels, and other low-wage jobs where she has struggled with poverty wages and unfair scheduling, and she is committed to building the fight across the service industry to transform these jobs into good-paying jobs. Ashaki, everyone knows Ashaki. Ashaki is a lifelong organizer and political activist in the Black freedom movement, experienced in labor, trade union, women's rights, and electoral organizing. Now retired, she has worked as an organizer and representative in the U.S. National Trade Union Movement. America, now retired, she has worked as an organizer and representative in the U.S. National Trade Union Movement, including serving on the staff of United Electrical Workers and Machine Workers of America, UE, for 11 years. She was the founding member and organizer of the Southern Workers Assembly in 2012. Ashaki is a veteran member of the Black Workers for Justice, serving in a number of posts in over 40 years, including director of organizations and international representative. Company she lived, she served as national strategic organizer for International for Black Workers for Justice, continuing the work of building social movement in the U.S. South. So this panel again is going to examine the state of this movement in the South, particularly after COVID. And the question, we'll have questions now after the event. So without, we're going to bring our Shaki to the front.
All right. Thank you, brother. Good evening, everybody. I wanted to, we had a presentation tonight, so I wanted to bring out maybe 6 or 7 points based on the experiences that we've had over the 40 years in Black Workers for Justice. BWFJ's experience began with looking at the conditions of Black workers in the South and the real lack of trade union experienced by the vast majority of Black communities. The lack of organized power of the black working class, including the lack of collective bargaining power, impacts every aspect of black life in this country. There are 20 million black workers in this country, over 14 million, or approximately 60%, are in the southeast region, where unionization is low. We worked in organizing both public and private sector, particularly in Eastern and Central North Carolina initially. We worked in both traditional unions in the public and private sector, and in building, our goal was to build new trade unions in the South. And in working with through this experience, we learned what we already knew, that the traditional methods of trade union building would not work in the South. Yet the South itself would undermine the national trade union movement, weakening it over time, and more as we have seen that has happened in the proliferation of right to work laws eliminated in this country, vast parts of the country. The approach needs to be different, understanding the political and economic structure of the South that was built to maintain the Southeast region as a bastion of a cheap labor market for capital, and the oppression of black people in particular as the basis of that market, impacting all other workers, whether black, brown, indigenous, or white. With that, we also examine the question of the oppression of women, especially working class women, having these specific additional features of a patriarchal political, social, and economic system in this country. We could spend hours, maybe a whole day of classes on some of the experiences and lessons that we've drawn from our history. Obviously, we don't have time to do that right now. So I just wanted to draw out what are some of the key features that we have learned from our youth experience. That new trade unionism in the South must be rank and file based. The organization of rank and file workers on the floor. That we want to build a form of social movement unionism that is organized to address the conditions of the entire working class, which is not only economic, but political, social, cultural, and patriarchal as well. The question of building power for working people has to be the objective and goal of our work. The experience of the UAW is extremely important, and we're looking forward to all that we can learn from the new tactics and political consciousness that their work is showing right now. But even so, there's still millions of workers in industries in the South, both in the public and private sector, that need to be organized.
Right.
Just recently, the United Electrical Workers has been organizing a collective bargaining rights campaign in Tidewater, Hampton Roads, Virginia. And they've been doing quite an excellent job. They've got members that are part of that work as well. And again, there's been some important lessons that we're beginning to draw from that work. A couple of years have spent since the state of Virginia passed a law allowing collective bargaining rights for workers in the public sector in that state. Virginia was one of the two states, including North Carolina, that had laws prohibiting collective bargaining rights. So that was a very interesting and hopeful development. But the law is written such that in order to gain access to the collective bargaining, each city has to pass ordinances or maybe with the collective bargaining. So we spent a couple of years there, working to try to get the city council to pass an ordinance, and was looking hopeful. Hampton Roads, there's 6 or 7 cities there across that part of Virginia that's where tremendous amount of black workers are struggling. They got good jobs in the public sector, but much more is needed. So that vote was taken on April 30th, finally by the city council, and the vote was 5-4. So that meant in Virginia at that point. So again, we return to our lessons that we've learned. And that main lesson is we have to build the union inside these workplaces, whether there are laws supporting it or not. That is the biggest lesson. And you can't wait for there to be a pivotal election. It's a unique situation that we have right now at the UW, blessedly, but in terms of across the South, trying to build, we have to recognize that we're, not just working workplace to workplace, but we're coming up against a whole system. You said earlier, to keep unions from proliferating, to keep the black community from having power, to keep all poor people from power in this region. And so we have to start that building process. I think we need more education about how to go about building inside these workplaces before we even have the right to collective bargaining. UE 150 exists that way now. UE has chartered Virginia Beach Local 111 in Tidewater, Virginia. We're very proud of that. And those workers are now in the process of building a union. But we can see that the balance of forces, the balance of power, will not change just through legal means. Because Chamber of Commerce did their work while we were doing our work. And they got one person that they wanted to get to abstain. And, the question of collective bargaining was popular among the populace throughout the area. They took polls and everything. And so there was a strong indication that the communities were in favor of the city council passing that. And we still couldn't get it passed. So the balance of forces and balance of power there is still a question. Who's elected into these positions in local areas is still a question. If we're not organized as a working class, we cannot have real impact on those questions, and that's where we need to be. So those are the lessons that we've learned, and I'm hoping we, through our continuous work with the Southern Works Assembly and our trade union building and all of our organizations that are fighting, that we can draw from these lessons. We need a special approach in the South. It's got to be much broader than just building, a union here and a union there, a workplace here, a workplace there. That's not going to happen in this region. We need a movement, and so we can't wait for the laws to be in our favor. We have to force the change.
This is a war.
So that starts with us building and organizing in the workplaces throughout the South, in the public sector and in the private sector. That's what that. Thank you.
Thanks, Sharky. I'm gonna encourage everybody, please make questions. If you got questions for her, as well as any other panel members, please make notes so we can address them quickly after the presentations. Next, we're going to hear from Corey Hill.
Good afternoon. It's good to look around and see so many young people in the room. That's very encouraging. I'm Corey Hill. I'm with the UAW. My wife's proud of me because I did not wear a UAW shirt tonight. Only over the last 20 years, that's the only thing you see me in. But anyway, I didn't wear it on purpose. A lot of people was talking about the UAW, but it's not about the UAW. It's about you. It's about you as a worker. Okay? They said, let's, 6 months ago, me and you started talking.
Something like that.
Yeah, about 8 months ago, 9 months ago, we come together as a council and started our campaign towards what is our negotiations going to look for us at Daimler Truck. Okay, and if you haven't heard, we did go through negotiations and we won a record contract, which was historical, especially here in the South. I got some UAW brothers and sisters here tonight. Y'all want to stand up? And the big question is, now we have went with the big three. We went with here in the South and won a major event here. We went and won in Chattanooga with Volkswagen. Today, I'm sad to say we lost the race in Mercedes, but the war has just begun.
Exactly.
Okay? The thing of it is, after 40 years of fighting, you're right. They always change the game plan on us when we make one step to keep us divided. But divided no more we will be.
All right now.
Okay?
Yeah.
When we walk together, that's where our strength comes.
Yes, it is.
When we stand together, that's where our strength comes. Okay? Now, I didn't wear a UAW shirt here tonight because it's not about me. It's about you. Y'all invited me here. It's about you. See, the victory inside of organizing, point right here. Say me, and then point across the table and say you. You know why it's about you? No matter what you do, whether you are in the restaurant business, whether you are in construction business, you're a mail carrier, whether you are in the distribution center, whether you're an auto worker, you have a story. The campaign for our campaign, when we come together, was we will become united as one. And we took 6 locals and brought it together, and those 6 locals won a historical contract. Not the bargaining committee, not the leadership. The 6 locals, the workers, won that contract.
All right.
They proved they were willing to set out and walk that line and do what they needed to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you know what? We got a lot of work to do. Inside of our plant, we're 95, almost 96% unionized. Okay?
All right now.
In the South, but we ain't always been like that. I could come here and just proud of that and say that, okay, we ain't always been like that. We have a lot of divide. We have a lot of internal organizing we still have to do inside of our own locals. Okay? We have a lot of walking to do inside of our own locals. We have seen some of those steps take place recently by people coming together and willing to say, I'll do whatever it means to win a good contract. If it means hitting the street, that's what I'm willing to do. That was our message. How do we get that? Because we went to every organization, we went to every local and wanted to hear their story. I don't care where you work, you have a story. And where you fit in your workplace is your story.
You better know it.
When we talk about unionizing places, forget about talking like that. Talk about bringing the union out. The union's already in there. If you got a worker there, they got a story and the union's there. And the story's either telling you that it's corporations that you're working for is either sharing their fair share or they're not. They're either treating you with dignity or they're not. They're either including you in a conversation or they're not.
Yeah. They treat people got to find.
And even with the union, it doesn't stop.
Of course.
We just got a great contract that we are fighting to get implemented. Because they don't even want it to implement what they
Exactly.
agreed to.
Yeah, but you don't matter to them.
But you know what? That ain't gonna happen.
Yo, ain't.
That ain't gonna happen. Because we did it united, we'll stay united.
Exactly.
It is not easy.
Right.
It's tough. It's tough. We took a contract. We took no concessions. We took it and wanted fair wages in 6 locations. That's not easy. All 6 of those locations, even whenever we got good things and they got things, everybody started saying, well, this is, they got more and I got this and I got that, because we're human. But go back and talk about your story and what you fought for and where you come from. And that's what you have to build off of. Those stepping blocks. It's not going to come overnight. 40 years of doing the same fighting is a long time, ain't it, sister? Okay? You've had some victories, you had some defeats. But you know what? You stood up here tonight and laid it out to what the next step is. And the next step is giving every worker in this state, in the South, the right to be able to put their seat at the table.
Amen. Yes.
Now, you want to know, we look at these things, we have an international union, a huge international union. Everybody's not blessed to be backed by an international union. So when you look at these things and we go to Mercedes and there's 6,000 people there, obviously you would think that it's going to be a different tax, but it's not. Every one of those people inside there have a story. The actual food workers have a story. They can tell you what they love about their job and what they don't love about their job. They can tell you the things they're treated well on and not well on. Okay? The fight every day is to be at the table and to make your life and your community. And your community better. If you want to organize, you got to have the community behind you. You got to let the community know why you want to organize. You got to because especially in the South, before we ever did anything, we went to the businesses. We sat down and I said, look, with the council, I said, we got to go to all the businesses in all the towns that we're in all 6 locations and tell them what's going on. Because being 2.3% unionized, if they see us out there on the street, they ain't going to understand.
Nope.
But they understood when we said we're fighting for job security here, to keep jobs here, for better pay, when we come in here and shop more often, and spend our money and support you, and be in this community. That's what we're here for. I want you to know, if you see us out there on the street, this is our business. This is our business. We're out there restraining our labor because that's the only thing we have to fight with. And whenever we strain our labor, guess what? Now you see it comes to the table. Okay? We know Daimler, they didn't want to lose market share. We don't build trucks. They don't sell trucks. It's that simple. You can cook the food, but if you don't serve it, ain't nobody getting fed. It's that simple. Okay? The thing of it is, you can order all the parts that you want, but if there ain't nobody delivering to your house, it's that simple. Your seat is there. The many things in the vast, deep pockets they had to divide us on every occasion is there too. What you have to do is unite in your story. Everybody has a story. Unite in your story. Let the people tell their story. If they tell their story, they will organize. If they tell their story, they will tell their hardships. If they tell their story, they will become vulnerable. You know what vulnerable people are? They're dangerous.
Very, extremely.
Because now you got to deal with them. Oh man, I didn't know they was dealing with that. I didn't know they was treated like that. What we gonna do with them now? And then you got people like, really? Yeah, really. Well, how long's that been going on? A long time. Like my sister said, well, black people all their life.
Hello.
And still today.
Hello.
And still tomorrow.
Yeah.
Every day is a fight.
That part. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But if we lie silent, there will be no improvement.
It's gonna get worse.
If we don't walk forward, there will be no improvement.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, hey, are you going to tell our story or not? If you want to organize, tell your story. If you want to organize, understand how much you have in relationship to the same story with the person that works beside you.
Exactly.
That's where the power is.
Yeah.
There ain't no secret sauce. There is no secret sauce. The only secret sauce there is you and the person sitting right in front of you.
Exactly.
Next, we're gonna hear from Brother Dominique. Get my hand.
I just slid across and ain't break.
All right. Come on with it. You all right?
All right, how everybody doing tonight?
Good. I'm fired up.
I really ain't know how I was gonna start this or how I was gonna finish it, but he talking about stories, so I started with a story.
All right.
There you go.
Come on with it.
All right, so when I first started working for the city of Charlotte, I remember I was catching the bus, and to catch the bus, I had to walk about a mile, almost a mile. What was it, about a mile, baby? There's my wife right there. Yeah, so, but I didn't care. I just needed a job, and it was a okay paying job, starting out with $13.14. That's what we was getting paid per hour. So, you know, that was all right. That was good enough. That was actually the most money back in 2014. That's the most money I ever made. You know, I had just a high school diploma, so hell, I was good with it. But when I got my first check, I looked at it.
That was a reality. That was a reality check. Wasn't it?
I looked at it for a little bit more, then I called my wife. I said, baby, I think I might have to get another job. But I ended up not getting another job. What I did was end up putting in the time and learning my craft. I ended up figuring out exactly what I needed to do to get the hours, what I need to do, get the criteria I needed for working, like obtaining and maintaining the CDL, creating passing classes and all of that. But it got to a certain point to where I was still looking at my check and seeing, so it's like I'm working this one job, getting 40 hours a week, then I gotta work damn near 40 more hours. So I'm basically working two jobs and one job just to make sure that they ends.
That part. Yeah.
That wasn't gonna go down for long. So I ended up meeting this man called Craig Brown. I hate Craig ain't here, but Craig Brown was the one that taught me into joining UE 150, which was probably one of the best decisions I ever made, because me and him together on the front lines fought for at least 2 years straight and won some of the biggest raises that we had in Charlotte up to that point. I said we went from 13 to 15 real quick, and that was something that UE did all statewide. All of us in Greensboro and I believe Durham, and even state workers, we all came together and we decided that we should all make at least $15 an hour.
All right.
That's right.
You know, that's a living wage. So it was. So that was good. That was decent. Got to 15. But I say about probably about 3 years ago, something spectacular happened. 3 or 4 years ago, No, she gonna be embarrassed when I call her out, but we end up hiring the organizer. Her name is Cass Utley. She said, all right, don't let her hide. Don't let her hide. But we were only able to hire her because of the work that we were doing in UE 150, ended up getting us a grant. And I'm gonna call out somebody else. It's Ben sitting right there. So Ben and Dante Trubino, like I said, Dante ain't here. Where they were able to get a grant that secured us the money to be able to hire staff organizer Cass Utley down in Charlotte, which led us to now they got this on the table, but we still want more, a $23 hour minimum wage. That's where all workers come in, getting paid $23 an hour starting out, and then 5%, and there's some other stuff. I ain't gonna go through all that. But I say that, and I tell that story because what it took was a lot of people coming together and doing a lot of good things. You know, it took people not giving up in the fight. It took us all just reaching down inside of ourselves and saying, man, we know what we deserve and we're gonna work to get it. You know, and this ain't work that we get paid for.
No, it ain't.
You know what I'm saying? Well, at least I don't get paid for this. Then you got a check for me. You know, you don't got a check for me, so I'm not getting paid for this.
Okay.
This is work that we do because we know it's good work. This is work that we do because we came to love our jobs, and we want other people to be able to survive when they come to them jobs. Be able not just survive, but thrive. Well, I always felt is as a city worker, if you can't thrive at your job, if you can't live in the city that you work in, then the city don't deserve to have you. But just looking around and seeing that we have a lot of different struggles that went on. Even last year, there was Dr. back there trying to sneak in. Well, during the last year, Durham workers, they went on a strike. Now, y'all know this is a right to work state. This is the at will state. And you aren't supposed striking for city workers or public sector workers. It's supposed to be illegal. They ain't give a damn. They saw the law, they knew what it was, and they said, and it was the sanitation workers that took the biggest stand.
Sure was.
Like just looking at their example, they sat down on the job for 3 days and won some big things that they would have never won had they not did that.
Yes.
And they didn't just win for them, they won for all of the city workers in Durham. So, but just looking at their example, just looking at them doing things that, you know, might not be legal in the eyes of the law. That might not be legal, but just looking at their example and seeing that, man, you can do things that you didn't think you could do just because you know they need to be done. You know, I'm watching Kevin Hart. I respect him as a comedian, but you know, he got some other things going on. But he said something a lot. He said something a lot, but I do agree with you. You got to get comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
And once you get comfortable with that, then you can start to go outside of yourself, go outside of your shell. You can start speaking to people from something beyond you.
That's right.
You know, you can speak from the heart, you can speak from the soul. Whenever you tell somebody, hey man, you need to join a union, they be like, why? Union ain't gonna do nothing for me. Like, bro, look at that paycheck in your pocket. I promise you I would have had that if it wasn't for the union. And this is even for unorganized workplaces because it's unions in the north that drive up the wages in the south the same way non-unorganized workers in the south drive down the wages for workers in the north. It's like they try to play us off of each other. But it's all because of the work that we do. It's not nothing they do other than distribute the pennies that they give out. That's the only thing that they do is distribute us just enough for us to keep going, but just enough for us to cry out. Enough for us to know that you're not giving enough to us as workers. What we need to do is just take examples from one another, look at what's going on in each one of our workplaces, and keep building on what we all in this room have been building on, which is the fight of those that came before us.
Yes.
right, Miranda. Yes, we have to recognize that we have all those things going, the right to work state, buy at will state, but they need what we got. They need our labor. So we put all our labor across the board, we can get a lot done, but we got to get there. We're still growing up, right? We got to get there and tell our stories. We have to tell it collectively and bring that to the table.
That's right.
Hi, I'm so happy to be here with everyone, really honored. I haven't been with Asheville Food and Beverage United for very long, but it is something I'm passionate about organizing in the city of Asheville. I've worked as a service industry person in Asheville for 17 years, and I've seen the changes within our city where they have continued to exploit the work of hospitality workers, as we see nationwide with restaurant and service workers. And it's pretty hard to organize within restaurants. You got corporations, you've got hotels, you've got independent restaurants. And a lot of my experience actually was management until recently, where they taught us how to squish unions. You know, I worked for Omni, and they definitely taught us how to quiet voices of people who wanted to organize. And it's unfortunate, but they also taught us how to use workers, change their schedules, be unfair to workers, taught us how to, you know, I mean, encourage us, you know, not to give servers raises, which you can. You can absolutely pay a server more than $2.15 an hour, whatever. So I've seen how management is taught to follow our awful state of North Carolina, which Oxfam has voted for the fourth year in a row, the worst state for workers. Yeah. So here we go. Asheville is very, very tourist driven. Many of you know this. And we've seen time and time again how our city tends to focus on it being a place for people to enjoy at the expense of the people that live and work in that city. So I started getting involved in AFBU because it's a citywide union. We're part of Restaurant Workers United. We're one of the few citywide unions. I just looked, we have like over 200 paying due members at this point, which is amazing. We have 232, which when I started paying, I think there were like 15. It's pretty incredible to watch this grow. And I think for us, our biggest focus is how do we educate workers? Because a lot of restaurant workers and service workers do not know their rights. They don't know what they can do, what they can't do, what is it, you know, what they can talk about. Can they talk about how much they make? Can they talk about their schedules? Can they do all these things? So I think a lot of what we've been doing is educating. So we've done, we did sexual harassment training, because in Asheville, unfortunately, there are a lot of restaurant owners who also exploit their workers in a sexual manner, unfortunately. We've heard horror stories. So how do we teach people how to advocate for themselves and for each other? We, you know, have done Workers' Rights 101 with UNCA and AFBU with Just Economics, and just did a study for the hospitality workers in Buncombe County. We just did the press release, which was great. And we found out so much about how truly the service industry folks are struggling. So for us, our big thing as we move forward, because we've only been around for a couple years, is educating our community and then moving forward with trying to incubate in smaller places, which we keep getting leads. We keep getting people saying, yes, we want to organize in our workplace. Working on one right now. But some of those things have gotten squished. So we're still just working as a community-wide kind of union in that way. And also, we started because we were a small incubation of the Western North Carolina Workers Assembly, which is part of this. So we're all working together trying to really get some momentum this next year. We have our meeting coming up where we will be discussing our steering committee for the union. We'll be voting on that this year, and with that election, we're hoping to get some more momentum in our city and really try and advocate for all these hospitality workers because we're the #2 industry in our city, right behind the medical field, which the nurses are also up for negotiations with their contract too. So we come out for them and they come out for us quite a bit. So that's kind of just where we're going. Not a lot, but it starts with grassroots canvassing, going and talking to your friends, going and talking to other bartenders. Jen does an awesome job of that. Just go downtown and go talk to all the people in restaurants here and there and get a pulse on what's going on in our community. So that's what we're doing.
Come on up. Yeah, we got to keep working together, and we're gonna have a discussion, so y'all say the question.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tashira Smith from USSW. I'm a worker leader. And I just want to take a second real quick to shout out my group, my family.
All right.
Today, and as usual, when I travel, I bring my kids with me.
That's okay.
I have a 6 and 8-year-old, well, soon to be 6 and 8. I am here and fighting for them. I am that mother that can't really keep a job because of lack of childcare,
That's right.
lack of support.
Share that.
Sorry.
Share that. No,
I'm a part of USSW because with them, I have solidarity. I have people fighting with me,
Somebody got your back.
fighting beside me,
Yeah.
and I know with them, we will not fail. We have been recently fighting with bus drivers. Thank you. Bus drivers and teachers. This is my 2nd year doing school with my kids. My son, he is in kindergarten.
Yeah.
He will be graduating June. My daughter will be going to 1st grade. And recently, the teachers and bus drivers went on strike. And we stood in solidarity with them.
Yes.
And I had called up the school asking, like, will we be penalized if they don't go to school because the bus didn't come? They told me no. They told me no, but they eventually still got penalized for not going.
What they supposed to do? Walk?
Basically.
That's some bullshit.
Basically. I always say that these corporations can't grind without us.
That's right.
We do the heavy labor. We work. We sweat. They do the check. That's right. It's what we asking for. But my daughter, every time we yell for 25, she asks me for 55.
I don't know.
Because she knows that certain things some other can't do, but that she want to do. I can't afford daycare. I can't afford for them to go to summer camp. I was told that what is the name of the one of the big ones? $1,000, and that's just for one child.
Yeah, that's one, baby.
How am I gonna do that? Off of $13 an hour. The minimum wage in North Carolina is $7.25. And some places are still charging, paying people that.
Yeah.
How are we gonna live off of this?
They don't give a shit.
They don't.
They don't.
And I'm tired. I'm tired. Yeah. I am usually not a speaker. I'm usually the person that likes to stand in front of the business and agitate. I love to dance. I love to put them the hell off. And I'm gonna give it to them.
Yes.
All right. It's time for all of us to present those questions that you've been thinking about, even discuss what we can do better, what we need to do going forward. So this wonderful panel has been brave enough to express themselves to you. Let's see what you got to offer. They're ready to field the questions. Brother Brian.
Eiley, Local 1422, how y'all doing?
Yeah.
Good. I have a question for Daimler Chrysler. What was your name?
Corey.
Yep. Corey, you said something that struck me that kind of blew my mind. You said that you all, as an organization, are up to 96%.
Yeah, we're 95% in my local.
In your local?
Yeah.
95%.
Yeah, we have right at 2,000 people in our local.
Okay. So since we have a similar family, all right, 1422, and you all have a similar family, how do you internally organize to that level? Because I'm over here jealous right now. How do you internally organize to that level through the political infighting? Do you all have something like that?
That's a tough one, because that's real.
It's real.
I mean, politics is nothing but a divide. I mean, you know what? I'd vote for a Republican. You get me one that says show me that he would stand up for the PRO Act, fair rights for taxes, workers' rights, the right to organize.
Yeah.
You know, the things that are right for working class people, I'd vote for them, but I can't find one. The problem is they use that for a divide, because the people that's in there that's even in the union, because y'all have them in y'all's local too, that are Republican, okay? All right, shake your head like this, because we know we in a red state. They use those items to divide the union on subjects that is voted against themselves.
That's right, and it's a bunch of bullshit.
That is directly voting against their own interests.
Yes.
I mean, we have public service workers that don't even vote. And guess who pays your salary?
Yes.
But you asked that, it's the people. You know, we just, like I said, we just got there because we went through negotiations. We had a huge influx. We had like 86 people that joined. We was around right at 88%, and it takes over the years of doing. It's tough because there is so many dividing subjects, okay? Inside of Daimler Truck, we have plants in Mexico, and we are compared to them all the time. They build like products. They build the same products that we do. As a matter of fact, we just took a case, one of our grievances, through arbitration because they shut down our plant during COVID and ran the plants down there whenever. But we was essential workers. They made us come in whenever they wanted to. Okay, but we had language in our contract that said that it's a BLA language, which is a basic build language of how many they have to build on a daily average. But they violated that. We even had to take that to arbitration to win, and we did, and we won. Seeing those things brings people, the wins bring people in. One of the things is social media, announcing your wins, talking about what is important. What is important to them is that contract. And we all know representatives ain't the same in there on the floor. Some of them are lazy, some of them are good. Okay? Let's just be honest. Some of them win by popularity, some of them don't win by action. Okay? But there is no secret sauce, brother. Every day, it's about listening and them people telling their story. Look, the thing that y'all got engaged about is the story, right? I went a year ago to the Asheville Food and Beverage. They had something in a park there in the middle. It was talking about, yeah, you remember that. That's where I remember you from. One of their stories was talking about how much they had to pay for parking. I mean, we're talking about over a day's salary to park downtown, to work and serve people that's coming in to their restaurants. See, I wouldn't have known that if they wouldn't have told their story. You want to join your union? Let the people organize themselves. Let them tell their story. But you know what? We can't be a lazy union and not listen to that story. When people say, then we have to educate, because we have a lot of new people coming into our local that don't understand the grievance process. They think, oh, they filed a grievance, why ain't they got this fixed yet? Well, there is a process. But we will take it to the point. And now they're seeing the points go that even after we exhaust that matter, we can take it to arbitration and then a third party listens to it. See, my sister said, I can't even afford daycare. That's a story people need to hear. They need to realize it. Because you know what? The politicians don't care if they did. They'd be doing something about preschool. They'd be doing something about K-4. Okay? The only way they're going to know is how. If we tell our story.
Yeah, that's right. And there's lots of mothers thinking it.
Yeah, we have to tell it.
Yes.
Silent no more. I'm sick and tired of being quiet. So, I could have stood up there and we could have talked about our victory because we fell behind. We got 25% pay increase over 4 years. We got profit sharing out of this corporation, something we never had. We got COLA. I'm talking about for over 8,000 workers. I'm talking about 6 locals, not just one small. I'm talking about over $1.3 billion contract that was won. This is a historical contract. But this corporation made $20 billion since 2018.
Right.
You know what? You're going to listen to my story.
That's right.
Because you know why? Because those workers deserve it.
Yes, right.
If they would have not made that, they would have not made that profit.
Yes.
That's how they made that profit. If anybody has a right to sit down at the table, it's us.
Yes.
Just like politics. You talk about the political divide. If anybody has a right to be in politics, it's the people that go to work every day. Our taxes pay for the shit they vote on. So we gotta quit letting them divide us across the board. This is our story. And the sooner we take it back, the better off we will be.
That's what our Bobby paid for. We can sell it.
All right, thank you. So, next question.
Can I grab the mic so that
I'm coming to you.
Hi, thank you everyone for all of your words. It's inspiring to hear. Miranda, I wanted to ask you specifically, I know that wage theft is rampant in all of the industries, but especially in the service industry. And I'm curious to hear what work you all have done around that and what strategies you have to combat wage theft. I'm just going to do the translation so that Spanish-speaking folks can hear. Estoy preguntando preguntándole a Miranda, ella trabaja en la industria de servicio y cuáles son algunas estrategias que han tenido para combatir el robo de salario en la industria de servicio. Thanks.
I may also tap Jen in because all I can say is that we are working with Just Economics, who puts out what the living wage should be. And in Asheville, it is 22 and some change is the suggested living wage. Right now in Asheville, there is no real unifying stance that any restaurant has. You're seeing restaurants across the board figure out ways to try and get their staff to the living wage because turnover is so rampant in all these restaurants, right? And management, and I would say this from the stance of someone who's lived and worked in Asheville for 17 years, they make you feel dispensable. They say, don't worry, if you're not happy, you can go somewhere else. Don't worry, if you don't like it, you can go to the Grove Park. Don't worry, if you don't like it, you can move around. So for us, it's something that I think we're looking to do better and become more unified on. For us, a big fight is we're hopping on a people's budget suggestion within our city council where participatory budget for our community can help ensure that at least the living wage is going to be met. Anything else, Jen?
On the wage shift?
Yeah.
Yeah. I can talk really loudly. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
No? Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Oh,
Sometimes I think I'm louder than I am. That was a great answer on the wages part, but I also just want to talk about the wage theft question. Yeah, wage theft is huge. That's the biggest form of theft in the country across any industry. And what we're doing for our people is what Miranda touched on earlier is education. So we're working on a wage theft workshop that we're working on with some folks at the NC Justice Center and some other places. And we'll be training people on things like if you're a server making $2.13 an hour, you can't be doing non-server related work for more than like 20 minutes or 20% of your time. And so we're trying, and people don't know that. They think that they're allowed to be forced to clean for hours when they're not busy, and they're not. You don't have to do that.
Yeah, that's illegal.
That's illegal. Yeah, they can't make you do that. And tip sharing, they can't force you to share tips with people who are making over minimum wage, although a lot of bosses get away with it, and that's how they supplement wages for back of the house. So it's just education and people saying, oh, wait, you can't make me do that? Okay, then I'm not going to do it. Just kind of giving them that education, that foundation gives them some power and feeling if they could do something about it.
So I'd like to offer a question there. Okay. All right.
Hi, my name is Ken and I'm from Rocky Mount. I have actually a comment and a question. The first question is the fact that the impression of a lot of people, or at least they're trying to make the impression is that workers are always asking for more money, right? So my thing is that one of the things when you have to be sure is that asking for raising in wages is relative. It's relative to your cost of living, all right? If they take our tax dollars and subsidize healthcare, education, home mortgages, reduce the price of housing, then we don't need that higher wages because everything else is subsidized, right? Meanwhile, they're taking our tax dollars and sending it overseas to fight wars that doesn't help us, right? So my question is that we are giving the impression that every time workers fight for higher wages, it's because we want more, rather than the fact that we need more because they're taking away all our subsidies, right? So I think that's very important that whenever we fight for wages, we have to tell them that we want our tax money to come back to us and subsidize our living. So that's the first point, right? The second point is that we are not living in an isolated situation in the world today, all right? The world today is very, very treacherous, okay? And as workers, we fight for our rights. But what about the students out there protesting the genocide in Gaza? And they're being, what is their fight? Their fight is for our humanity. Damn it, what are people? I mean, I know that you guys want to talk about workers and everything, but we're not isolated. Okay, I mean, what is the difference between us fighting for our wages and the workers in Niger that was mining for uranium, that was sent over the fence to write their life off, right? So I think that overall, while we're talking about fighting for our rights here, we cannot let them tell us that we got to fight their wars. They're going to try to make us all fight, support U.S. wars. Yes. Right? I mean, the Third World War against China, against Russia, against whatever, against the people in Palestine. So I'm just trying to say is that, please, while we're doing this, let us make sure they don't make us support their wars.
And the panel member want to address that question. And I want to remind you all that we celebrating victory, but we want to get some answers. This is a strategy session. If we're going to change what we're experiencing, we got to plan. We got to come together. I heard a couple of comments that said they stood on the picket line with nurses, or nurses stood on the picket line. We got to cross-pollinate our efforts.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So,
Yeah, that's an excellent point. We, like I said, the Southern Workers Assembly helped us do some leafleting down in South Carolina, the non-union facility. Jobs to Justice, they did the same. They was down there helping us leaflet. Many of affiliates was there helping us leaflet other areas. And Iowa, they was there helping us leaflet. These are non-union facilities, not leaving anybody behind. But we had a day that we set aside because we had 6 locals in various states. We knew we had people in Tennessee. We knew we had people we knew we had Alabama coming up on a boat. We have a local out, it's not a local, we have a plant out in Portland that is also organized. They have like 5 different unions inside their plant. But they're a Daimler facility. We have 2 plants in Mexico that are Daimler facilities. We have a plant there's a truck plant in Brazil. We had a United Day of Solidarity to talk about all workers. All workers. Was able to get, for weeks, for months, me and my mentor, Bob Riggins, he's here tonight. We sit on calls on WhatsApp and had many conversations with translators to talk about what the worst conditions are in Mexico. Those guys build the same thing that we build. Exactly. Oh yeah, making $25 a day. Saying they are represented by CTM, a corrupt government union there. They say they're looking after their rights, which they're not. We can't even give safe passage for truck drivers trying to make a living, working for billion-dollar corporations. People that is taking parts in delivering trucks for Daimler, the company that made $20 billion in the last 6 years in our previous agreement, can't even give safe passage to the guys that deliver their product. Getting hijacked down or getting beat up.
They probably the ones hijacked.
I mean, the thing of it is we have to bring acknowledgement to have every worker tell their story. We deserve that. Unless you're independently wealthy, guess what? You need a job, a JOB.
Yeah, that part.
You're gonna work somewhere. So you're exactly right, sister. Whenever you look at those things, and we talked about our negotiations, and Ben, I know he gets very, very impatient with me. I said, just be patient, Ben. We coming. He's like, we all went down there, we done this. These people calling us for it. I said, I know. The corporation knows we was down there. We did that on purpose.
Yeah.
We let them know we'll be coming.
That's right.
Okay? We let them know. We know exactly where you're at. We have the location. That's the reason why we was there. They get ready to probably get a UAW bump. Okay? They get ready to get a little raise because they're afraid we coming in. But guess what? We coming anyway.
That's right. Yeah. That's right.
Because those people have a story to tell.
Yes, they do.
Because they've been treated a certain way. Don't come dressed like Santa Claus one day a year, okay? Don't do that.
Yeah.
That's right.
How about have you run a
Don't do that.
Have you run
And you treat me the other 364 days like you want to. It don't work that way. We have to tell our story. We have to listen to other stories, and we cannot be blind to what is right. We're not isolated. Those people in Mexico make the same product that we make. They get paid $25 a day. And you know who's taking advantage of them? The same corporation that owns us.
Them greedy
And we took, yeah, you're exactly right. But I'm telling you, you know, the UAW has committed to looking at workers' rights in Mexico and bring more awareness. The executive board voted on a big lump sum to bring more awareness of their work conditions there that is driven by corporations.
And the
A person's work condition is not driven by their own action. It's driven by the company that owns them. Somebody said, oh, what did they do? They got injured. What did they do to get injured? Well, they got put in a situation where they got injured. Now, don't get me wrong. Some of us, we're just your own fault, okay?
Exactly.
But for the most part,
Keep it real.
it's about them making a profit and them not giving them safe passage to do their job properly. Them not giving them the equipment to do their job properly.
Exactly.
You know why we got this bump across the United States after COVID? Because people were scared and they made these corporations stand up and listen to them if they wanted to come in there and do something. Yeah. And then people found out how essential these people were. You know, you look at people and it'd be like, oh, well, you know, the fast food workers want $15 an hour now. That's crazy.
That ain't crazy.
That's crazy.
I was essential
and people don't want to work. People don't want to work at Burger King no more. They just cannot get, they can't keep people there. And, you know, you ride by there, you see that sign that says $10 an hour. It's not they don't want to work. They don't want to work for your ass, okay? They can leave. They're going down maybe $16, $18 an hour right down the road. And then the Republicans say, well, look at this. These people don't want to work. And guess what? Unemployment's down, so they're working somewhere, okay? They're just not working for them.
Exactly.
And you're mad because you can't get your hamburger. But last week, you were saying, you know what? They want to complain about it. They want to complain what they make. Tell them to go somewhere else and get a job. Then when they go get a job and you can't get your hamburger, you say they're sorry. Sounds to me like they're pretty smart.
They took your advice.
Yeah, good. That's it. They just don't want to work for them. So we're not isolated people, but we are people. We are our brothers and sisters keepers.
Yes, we are.
We have to remain that way. That's the only way we're going to organize the South. The days coming to work every day, do what you're supposed to do like your mama and daddy told you, and the corporations will take care of you. Those are long gone, brothers and sisters.
All right, let's see. Two more there. And then we're going to move. We got to get to some strategies. There's still good time, and there's a time for productive questioning and results. So we got to get to that part of it. Unless the whole weekend would have been just entertainment. We got to work. All right.
In Gaza Laughing House, UE 150 Black Workers for Justice.
All right.
I want to first of all thank all of our panelists for digging in,
Great job.
building the broader workers' assembly, because we have to unite as many workers as we can. And I know one of the first fights we have is also on the job. There's lots of fear. Lots of workers just don't know what their rights are. But we have to be broader than that in terms of how we see workers struggle.
Yeah.
We got to defeat the fear, defeat the fact that they just don't know what their rights are, but also we got to tie in the question of what role does the government play in denying workers fundamental rights?
Yeah.
What right do the two political parties play in not raising the minimum wage from $7.25?
Come on now.
Including agricultural workers and other workers under the National Labor Relations Act and other laws. See, sometimes when we're struggling inside our workplaces, we're too narrow. We got to broaden the question up. I mean, what role are unions playing against the war on Black America? Are they fighting for voting rights? Are they fighting against police repression? We can't continue just to be narrow workplace, job conscious trade unions. We got to be broader. Attacks on immigrant workers left and right. Are we doing any education on the war in Gaza, the genocide? So we keep talking about what's happening in our workplace. How is that related to the fact that they're spending billions of dollars? Dr. King said that war is the enemy of working people. That's what Dr. King said in '68. How are we bringing those lessons into our workplace? You know something? If we're not raising those issues today, as this crisis continues to get deeper and broader, that's really what's happening. There's a capitalist crisis. It's getting deeper and broader, and we're not doing enough. We got to raise this question of women's reproductive rights. We have to raise these questions inside our workplace. Even though it may not be popular, we still got to take those challenges on, and we're not taking them on. I'm sharing that with you. Here in the South, we're fighting against what I call the Zionist Christians. Well, Israel, the Bible says, that, that's right. That's what they tell us. It's workers in our workplace, because we're not doing that kind of broader political education, and we're not targeting the government, whether it's the federal government, the state government, the city government. Don't forget, in North Carolina, we still have a law that bans collective bargaining for public sector workers. In the South, it's pretty. What are we doing? That's what I want to ask all of you panelists. I don't want to start with you at UAW. I want to start with Shaki. I want to start with you, sister. I want to start with these other folks here. I want you to answer those questions.
I saw a hand over there. But I can tell you, there's a lot of fighting we can identify. A lot that we even have in the match in here today. But we got to prioritize our fight. That's strategy. You can fight all day. If you want to no round, you can fight. We have this going on for how long? Too long, right? If we're sick and tired of it, let's organize to change it. If we take one battle at a time, we'll win the war eventually. I agree with a lot of what's been said, but if we talk about organizing the South, when you get organized, you can do a lot more things than you can do individually. So this group, we need to keep growing it, but we need to work on our agenda. And it's realistic. We can do it. We can make the change. I saw one hand over here. But we got to do that. We got to be smart enough to make a plan for success. That's
Thank you. So, thank you to all the panelists for taking the time to be here. And just really quickly, along the line of what I want to say, just a belated Happy Mother's Day to all the moms in the room, firstly. I just want to say that. And so this goes along with what Angaza was saying, and also the theme of sharing your story. I just want to say thank you to Tajira with USSW for sharing yours. I was curious, and if we don't have time to discuss this tonight, certainly over the weekend, but what structures or culture What's the secret sauce in USSW as far as childcare and being there for moms in your organization? What does that look like? Because that's definitely a concern of ours in Richmond, how we show up for the mothers in our workplaces and in our unions and organizations. So thank you.
All right, I think we're narrowing in on the time. So what we're gonna do, give each of the panelists a final comment. We want to, so we can get a little more music and get out there and get ready for tomorrow. Gonna have these lines sharp and focused on what we gotta do over the rest of this weekend. All right? Let's start with this. Yeah.
All right. This was fantastic this evening, and I really want to appreciate each of the panelists too. Excellent. Really bringing forward. We've heard a lot here tonight as far as, bringing your stories forward. What are our stories? It's the working conditions that we're facing in the workplace day to day, and the issues that we're faced with. This sister brought up the question of, she has her whole family here, child care. That's a working class issue. That's an issue that impacts all of our communities. That should be part of our demands as we're organizing. Because this is fundamentally what we need. These are the kind of basic things we heard, questions of education, educating the workers about their rights, organizing on a citywide basis, beginning to organize the city council so that we're electing our own representatives that represent our interests instead of these politicians popping up, running for their own purposes. These are some of the things that have come out tonight. So the rest of this weekend, we really got to strategize and look at concretes. In SWA, we can't have it just be a few activist individuals coming together. We got to bring together our factories in the area, our teachers in the area, our hospitality workers in the area. The whole community coming together to take a stand in our communities and make demands on the system. That's the kind of work that we need to do going forward. Let's think about that this weekend.
To my sister that just asked me the question, as far as USSW, we I don't know if you're familiar with Mama Cookie, but Mama Cookie always says children aren't in the way, they are the way. Yeah. And that's how USSW acknowledges kids. We have them in everything that we do. Yeah. Everywhere we go. They are with us, beside us, and majority of the time they're in the front lines along with us.
But that's how you lead.
My babies know. When we start chanting, they chant too. And they sometimes better than me. But I just want to thank you guys for this opportunity. And I want to thank you too, sir, down there for giving me the courage, because I usually don't speak. I am one of those people that gets, I wouldn't say scared, but I'm just shy. So I'd like to thank everyone for giving me the courage to speak out today and to open up and fight even harder than I was before.
Thank you so much. It's been an honor to be up here. I think what I'm taking away is, yes, compiling the stories of the hospitality workers in Asheville, because that's really what drives us to do what we do, is when we're talking to our brothers and sisters and hearing what they're struggling with. That's what has been pushing the education. That's what's been pushing us to do classes, even if we only get 6 people that show up. It doesn't matter, you're right, because that's what we're going to continue to do this year. So I'm excited to hear everyone else's stories and strategize with how to make our union stronger this year. Yeah.
All right.
So, Ben, thanks for inviting me. It was an honor to be here, especially to be on a panel with such great people. And thank y'all.
Yes,
Thank you for coming forward and speaking up tonight. I know you don't want me to one to answer your question, but I'm going to answer that anyway.
You don't have to answer.
No, I really want to.
I want to hear. And I want to
The
hear.
avenue is to make movement in the world that we live in. We have to do that in a united way too. You know, the North Carolina State AFL-CIO gives us some of those avenues. They tell you, you know, as your union, wherever you're at, whether it's in Asheville or whatever town you're in, start building questionnaires and send them to your candidates in that town. Allow your people to help build those questionnaires, to make those questionnaires to say, we want to know what these people feel about these subjects. And be honest with it and put it out there. There's always going to be a divide. We're not going to get over it. There's the corporations spend more money than we have to create that divide. And politically, that's how they do it. But as people, as workers, and we're here, and we got certain subjects, we have rights to put together, especially like if you're in a town, talking about your city board, put together that questionnaire. If you want to come, if you want an endorsement from us, from our group, here's the questionnaire to come and talk to our group. Put these people on the front stage. Okay, and say, because this is how we feel about it. This is where we stand on it. This is where we are. Dr. King said an injustice for one is an injustice to all.
That's everybody. That's right.
Everybody.
That's right.
Because if you allow them to do it to one,
They're going to do it.
they're going to do it to everybody
It
else.
don't matter what color.
It's going to be a momentum.
Yes.
So it's tough. There is no answer. But it is about accountability. And it's about lifting up our voice. We have a voice in every way, whether it's politically or in the workplace or wherever it is. If we lie silent, nobody will know where we stand. So if you want to know where, if people want to know where I stand, don't ask me a question, because I'll tell you.
Yeah, me too.
Because you should have a right to do that.
Yeah, right.
You should have a right.
Look.
You want to know what I want out of my workplace? I'll tell you. Because I got that right. Everybody does. Remember this. If you got a worker that you work with and is inside of a workplace, you have a union there. You just got to bring it out. Because the reason why you was hired is to make somebody some money. You should have an impact in what your share of that money should be.
Hello. I'm the one busting my butt and swinging.
All right, give him a hand. Okay, before we start, just one comment. The other side is always going